before. But I can get all that stuff.
Okay, but do you have that? I mean, is that something you've already done, the special damages summary that you could just show us?
Sure, I mean, I can, but, I mean, you wanna go ahead and get started with this, or?
Well, you know, yeah, but if you already have it, if you can just hand it to me, I can get copies made, but all I want is what your special damages summary.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, I can get it for you, but I mean, you wanna start the deposition, or do you want me to, we can stop and do all this housekeeping stuff?
Well, I wanted to get that before we started your client's deposition.
Oh, sure, and we can do that. We're going to start with your lady and go ahead and get it done.
Okay.
Mark, if you've got a deposition, you've got
Well, you know, I saw it by notice, I said that, but I sure can't find what the deposition is at Sims Murphy that I'm supposed to go to, so I hope I don't miss it, but I couldn't figure out what it was, so I guess
so
that wasn't until like 3:30 anyway.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to try and push and maybe start at 10, because I knew you were coming from, I guess, is it Jackson or Nashville?
Nashville.
From Nashville. So, yeah, I was going to wait and not start so early, because I know I was kind of late myself. I want to go ahead and swear the witness, please.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Karen Kriss.
Mr. Kriss, my name is Ben Taylor. You and I met earlier. I represent the plaintiff in this case. And you're here to give your deposition testimony
Right.
in regards to this case. Have you ever given deposition testimony before?
No.
Okay. What I'm going to do is ask you a few questions and ask you, you're doing good so far, and you need to answer audibly since the court reporter here is taking everything down. I'm also videotaping it. If you can, please say yes, no, instead of because it doesn't come out as clear on the transcript. If I ask you a question and you don't understand it, or you'd like for me to repeat it, please ask me to do so. I'd be happy to do it. And if you answer a question, I'm going to assume that you understood it. Is that fair enough?
Correct.
Okay. And if you need to take a break at any time, let me know.
Okay.
And we'll be happy to do that. If you would, go ahead and tell me, what's your current address?
6764 / Pine Cove, Memphis, Tennessee.
And how long have you lived there?
About 19 years.
And who do you live there with?
My husband,
Okay, what's his name?
Robert Kriss.
Okay, is there anyone else that resides there with you?
No.
Okay. Now, were you born and raised in Memphis area, or
No.
where are you originally from?
I was born in Nashville, Tennessee.
And when did you move to Memphis?
I have to stop and think. Sometime in the 80s.
Okay. Did you go to high school in Nashville?
No.
Where'd you go to school?
South Panola High School in Batesville, Mississippi.
And where are you currently employed?
I'm not employed.
Okay.
I'm a caregiver.
Okay, what is that?
I take care of 2 sick relatives in a nursing home.
Okay. And what nursing home are your relatives at?
Bright Glade Convalescent Center.
And I guess are both relatives in that same facility?
They are.
What are their names?
Peggy Tanksley,
How do you spell her last name?
TanksleY.
Okay, and is how are you?
My
related?
mother.
And then who's the other person?
Her sister, my aunt, Sarah Halbrook.
And how long have you been taking care of them?
No, total for about the last 6 years, off and on.
Now, have they been in, I guess, did you say Bright Glade?
Bright Glade.
Bright Glade. Now, have they been in Bright Glade this whole time?
My aunt's been there the last 4 years. My mother's been there for 14 months.
Now, do you have a background in nursing or?
No, I have a background in education.
Okay. Tell me about that, I guess, before you started taking care of your family members, what, I guess, was the last job that you had?
The last job I had, I worked for Harding Academy.
And do you know when you stopped working in Hardin?
I think around 2000.
Okay, and what were you doing there when?
I was teaching PE to elementary students.
And did you, I guess, did you leave on good terms at Harding Academy?
I did.
Okay. And you, I guess, quit in 2000 to take care of your,
I
is
did.
your aunt and your mom? Okay. And did you work full-time at Harding?
No, just part-time.
Did you have any other jobs, part-time jobs?
No.
And when did you start at Harding?
About probably 98.
Okay. And then, I guess prior to Harding, where were you employed?
I worked at Ridgeway Elementary years and years ago as a teacher assistant.
And I guess, do you know when you quit working at Ridgeway?
No, I don't remember.
About how long were you there?
I think a couple of years.
And I guess what grade were you a teacher's assistant?
Elementary.
Okay. What about prior to Ridgeway? What did you do?
I was a military wife.
Okay. Which branch was your husband in?
Navy.
And when I'm talking about your husband, I guess it's Robert Kriss, right?
Correct.
Okay. When were y'all married?
In 1975.
Was he in the Navy at that time?
No.
Okay. When did he enlist or when did he join the Navy?
He went through officers training a couple of weeks after we married
Okay, and where did he do that?
in Pensacola, Florida.
And how long were y'all in Pensacola?
For a year.
And then where did you live after that?
Corpus Christi, Texas.
Do you remember the address in Corpus Christi?
No,
Okay, how long did you live in Texas?
about 4 months.
Okay. And then after that, where did you move?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Do you remember the address in Jacksonville?
No,
How long were you in Jacksonville?
4 months.
Okay, and after that?
Let's see, where we were to Patuxent River Naval Air Station in Maryland.
Okay, and how long were y'all in Maryland?
About 3 years.
And then after Maryland?
Meridian, Mississippi.
Do you remember your address in Meridian?
No,
How long were you in Meridian?
3 years.
Okay, and then after that?
Andrews Air Force Base, Washington, D.C.
And did y'all live on the base?
We did.
And how long were you at Andrews?
About 3 years.
Okay, and after that?
We moved here.
Was your husband stationed, I guess, in Millington?
He was.
And you lived at the same address in Memphis?
No, another
Okay.
address.
Do you remember that address?
All I remember was Ashway Cove,
Now, was that in Millington or Memphis?
Memphis.
Do you have any children?
I do.
What are their names?
Rachel, Kriss, Black.
Okay,
That's all.
okay. And does Rachel live in Memphis?
No,
Where is she currently living?
Dover, Delaware.
Okay. Besides your husband, your aunt, and your mother, do you have any other relatives living in Shelby County?
No,
Is your husband still in the military?
no.
What does he do now?
Works for FedEx.
What does he do at FedEx?
He's a heavy equipment operator.
How long has he worked at FedEx?
About 21 years.
Now, did he work at FedEx while he was, I guess, stationed in Millington?
He did.
Okay, so what, was he on the reserves with the Navy, or?
He ended up in a reserve squadron.
Okay. What did he do in the Navy?
He was a pilot.
Now, is that what he's doing at FedEx now?
He's in management,
Okay.
and he flies.
Okay, and I guess, is that what you meant by heavy equipment?
Mhm.
He flies planes? Okay. Ms. Kriss, have you seen the deposition notice for your deposition today?
I received your deposition notice yesterday at 4:26 p.m., so no, she has not seen the deposition notice.
Okay, but that was actually a renotice of this deposition. And what my question was, the original notice of your deposition, have you ever seen that document?
I got some information a long time ago
Okay.
about a deposition, but I think they've been canceled like 2 or 3 different times.
Right, right. I know we've had some trouble getting them scheduled, but I guess, did you see that document?
I got a notice in the mail.
Okay. That notice requested that you bring documents to your deposition.
Pardon?
The notice requested that you bring documents to the deposition. Do you remember that?
No. I don't remember receiving this.
Okay.
Well, let's go ahead and we'll mark that as the first exhibit. And this is the re-notice. I'm gonna mark that as well.
Well, let's mark the copy, the fax copy, cover sheet showing that it was sent on 10/28/2008 at 16:26.
I'm fine with that. I mean, that's. Did you get a chance to look at that notice?
No.
Okay, let me get you to take a look at it. Let's do, I guess, exhibit 1 first.
Okay, for the record, I'm objecting to any documents that may be relied upon at trial, including but not limited to any maps, pictures, photographs, charts, diagrams, or other likeness of the alleged complaint or any other matter or thing related to the cause, including but not limited to any item of demonstrative evidence that may be used at trial, and including any diary, calendar, journal, or other writing kept by or in the possession of the deponent, on the basis that those documents containing work product and attorney-client privilege. But without waiving that objection, we have given you all photographs this morning that we have both received from you and photographs of the vehicles that we have. And I've also given you this morning a copy of your client's statement.
Ms. Kriss, is there any other documentation that you intend or may use at trial to support, I guess, any of your defenses?
Excuse me. Objection as to work product, attorney-client privilege, and it's invading the province of the trial strategy of the defendant's attorney. Without waiving those objections, if Ms. Kriss has any documents that she knows of, you can answer if you know of anything.
I just know about medical records.
Okay, tell me about those. Are those your medical records?
Yes.
Okay, and I guess they're related to this
Yes.
accident? Okay. Where did you get treated? Where did you go for treatment?
Well, I was taken to the emergency room first,
Okay. And tell me about that. Which emergency room did you go to?
the Germantown Methodist.
And what were your complaints when you presented at Germantown Methodist?
Well, I mean, I was sore, but I didn't have, a lot of complaints. Initially, I went on the advice of the ambulance drivers.
And I guess were you treated and released from the hospital?
I was.
Okay. And did you have any follow-up with any other doctors?
I did.
Who did you follow up with?
I followed up the next day with my internal medicine doctor,
Who
as
is,
I was told by the ER doctor to do.
okay, who is that?
Dr. Jolie Porter.
And did you see Dr. Porter?
I did.
Okay. And what did she tell you?
She said we need to order some tests.
Okay. What type of tests?
CT scans.
Were there any other?
I saw a cardiologist,
Who was the cardiologist?
Dr. Jason Infeld, external cardiovascular.
And who else did you see?
Let's see, I saw Dr. Susan Merman,
You know how to spell her last name?
Murman.
Okay. And what does she specialize in?
OBGYN.
Okay. And any other doctors?
Yes, Dr. Lee Stein.
And what does Dr. Stein specialize
He's a
in?
neurologist.
Anybody else?
I think that's all.
Now you saw Dr. Porter, I guess the day after
The
the
morning
accident?
after the accident.
And you said that she indicated you needed CT scans. Do you know why?
To find out why I had blacked out.
Okay. And who performed the CT scans?
I don't know, some outpatient group.
Okay. Now, did you-
Wherever she told me to go, that's where I went.
okay. And did you do that day?
I can't remember if that was that day or the next day, but it was right after it happened.
Okay. And then, how did you get referred to Dr. Enfield at Stern Cardiac?
She referred him,
Okay.
Dr. Porter.
Okay. And was that a referral that was made the day after the accident?
Yes.
Okay. And why
She
did?
wanted me to have a complete cardio workup to see if there were any cardio problems that could have caused me to black out.
Okay. And when did you see Dr. Enfield?
I don't remember the couple of weeks.
Okay.
It's been almost 3 years since this accident. I can't tell you date for date.
Okay. But you've got records, I guess,
I
medical
do.
records that indicate all of
I
that?
have all this has been documented.
Okay. And then, how did you get referred to Dr. Merman?
She was already my gynecologist.
Okay. And did you see her, I guess?
I saw her the Monday after the accident.
Okay. And why?
That was for a yearly checkup, but we discussed all this.
Okay. And then Dr. Stein.
He was also referred from Dr. Porter.
Okay. And when did you see Dr. Stein?
Sometime within 2 or 3 weeks after the accident for a complete neuro workup.
Okay. So it's your testimony, Dr. Porter referred you to both Dr. Enfield and Dr. Stein the day after the accident?
Correct.
Now, how many times did you see Dr. Enfield?
I don't remember.
Okay. I guess, did he find anything wrong with you from a cardiovascular standpoint?
No, just one of the doctors found out I was extremely anemic and my potassium level was low.
Okay, do you know which doctor that was?
It could have been Porter, I don't know. She ordered, a lot of tests, my internist, complete blood count. She's extremely thorough.
Dr. Merman, your OBGYN, did she find any problems with you that, I guess, caused you to black out?
Yes.
Okay.
Excessive bleeding that I had surgery for in May after the accident. And her opinion was the combination of being anemic and low potassium could have made my heart snap for a couple of seconds, and that's why I blacked out.
Okay. Let's talk about Dr. Stein for just a
Okay.
second. Did he find anything wrong with you from a neurological standpoint?
A little irritability of the brain.
Okay. Can you tell me more about that? I mean,
I
what's
cannot.
irritability of the
I
brain?
cannot. He did extensive tests. That's what he found out. He ruled out seizures. He didn't see enough, reason on my CT, on my MRIs in my brain to start me on a seizure medication. But I wasn't allowed to drive for 3 months after the accident. Dr. Stein's orders.
Now, how many times did you see Dr. Stein?
I'm not sure.
Are you still under his care?
I am.
Okay. You testified that he took you, or said you couldn't drive for 3 months. I'm assuming after 3 months, he allowed you to drive again?
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of treatment are you receiving right now for this irritability of the brain?
Nothing.
Okay, but you're still seeing this doctor?
I see him from time to time, I do.
Okay. Do you know when the last time you saw Dr. Stein?
Sometime within the last year. I don't know if it's been 6 months. You have to understand, I take 2 other family members to him. The appointments just kind of run together.
Okay. When was the last time you saw Dr. Enfield?
Probably 6 months ago.
Okay.
I'm going to appoint with him on Monday.
Okay. And is it a follow-up appointment, or do you have a specific complaint?
No, it's a follow-up appointment.
Is he giving you any medication right now?
No.
Has he ever, made a conclusion as to why you blacked out?
My understanding, all the doctors finally came to the conclusion it was from the potassium level and being anemic, the combination of both of those.
And I think that you had said Dr. Mormon had included, I guess, excessive bleeding.
Yes, that's
Okay.
an excessive bleeding. That's why I was anemic. And that's why she performed surgery on me the May after the accident.
Okay, and I guess what were you diagnosed with? What was causing the excessive bleeding?
Well, female problems. I had a DNC and an ablation.
How long had you been seeing Dr. Merlin?
I've seen Dr. Murray probably 6 or 7, 8 years. She's
Okay,
my regular OBGYN.
okay. And so you had seen her prior to this accident?
Well, anytime there was a problem, yes.
Okay. And I guess the excessive bleeding that you're talking about, was that occurring on the day of the accident?
No, it's when you have your monthly periods
Okay,
and you bleed excessively at my age.
okay,
Over a period of time, usually you're going to become anemic from the loss of blood.
okay. And that's what I guess I'm asking you. Were you having your period on the day of this accident?
I'm not sure.
Earlier you said that Dr. Merman had said, I guess, the excessive bleeding and the anemia and potassium level caused your heart to do something?
Right,
Okay. Has your cardiologist concurred with that?
I believe so.
And so I guess what is the, I guess, exact diagnosis as to why you blacked out? Was that, I guess, there was no blood flow through your brain and?
I don't know all the medical details.
Okay.
I just did what I was told to do to try to rule out.
How long had it been since you had gone to your OBGYN prior to the accident?
I don't know. Sometimes I go once a year, sometimes I go every 6 months.
Okay. The excessive bleeding that you were describing, how long had you been experiencing that?
I'm not real sure.
But it had been occurring prior to this accident.
Yes.
Had you discussed it with your OBGYN
Right.
prior to the accident you had?
I can't remember.
Okay. And the surgery that was performed, exactly what did
She
you?
did a DNC and an ablation. It's where they burn the inside of the uterus and that
Okay.
stops the bleeding.
Okay,
So bottom line, you don't have a period anymore.
okay. And had you discussed with Dr. Merman the possibility of needing that procedure prior to this accident?
No,
Okay. Had you discussed, I guess, the excessive bleeding with Dr. Merman prior to the accident?
I think we had talked about it, but it hadn't reached a point that it was extreme.
Okay. Besides your blacking out, and I guess that's your position, is that you blacked out at the time of this accident. Is that correct?
It's not my position, I blacked out, that's correct.
Okay. And you don't remember the accident occurring?
No,
Okay. And by your position, I mean, that's what, as far as this lawsuit is concerned, it's your understanding or your position that you blacked out prior to the accident,
yes,
okay, and that you didn't black out as a result of the accident?
no.
Okay. Before the accident, before you blacked out, where had you been and where were you going?
I had been out to the barn, and I was on my way back home.
Okay. What is the barn?
It's where I board my horse.
And where's the barn located?
At that time, it was at Holmes Road.
Okay, Holmes and what, Germantown?
Holmes Road and Center Hill.
Okay, and then you were headed home?
Yes,
Okay, and so were you going north or south on Germantown Road?
when I left the barn, I got on non-common and got off at Winchester.
Okay, and then,
Stopped at Sonic and got the dog a hamburger and got a Coke and sat there for a few minutes. Then I got back on the two-lane Germantown Road, coming back toward Germantown.
okay, and do you know if you were headed north or south?
Well, I assume that would be north.
Okay. Do you remember if you had your seatbelt on?
I did.
What about the dog that you're describing?
He didn't have a seatbelt on.
Okay,
He was in the front seat and got slammed into the dashboard.
okay. What kind of dog is it?
A wire-haired fox terrier.
And was the dog on the front seat, I guess?
He was.
Do you have a kennel or some kind of box or something for the dog to drive around with you in?
No.
What's the dog's name?
Petey.
And do you still have Petey?
I did.
How long had you had your dog prior to this accident?
Well, let's see. He's 9 years old. So 9, let's see, he was probably about 7 when it happened.
Did you use a credit card at Sonic?
Can't remember. Could have paid cash.
Do you know how long you were at Sonic?
Long enough to drink a Coke and for the dog to eat a hamburger.
Okay. And so that's what Petey eats is Sonic hamburgers?
He eats the meat out of them, yes.
Okay. Now, did you get out of your car?
Yeah,
Okay, you stayed in your car at Sonic?
I did.
And what kind of car were you in?
A Yukon XL.
Was there anyone else in the car with you?
Just the dog and myself.
Do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Did you have a cell phone on the day of the accident?
I'm sure I had it in my purse. I always take it to the barn, but I wasn't talking on the cell phone.
Who was your wireless carrier at the time of the accident?
Maybe Cellular South.
Now you say maybe Cellular South. Have you changed wireless providers since the accident?
I can't remember.
Have you changed cell phone numbers since the accident?
I may have.
So in the last 2 years you've had a different cell phone number?
I think so.
Okay, what's your cell phone number now?
461-1954.
And do you remember your cell phone number on the day of the accident?
I don't.
Do those bills come to your address, your home address?
They do.
Are they in your name?
I believe they're my husband's name, and I don't pay bills.
And does your husband have a cell phone as well?
He does.
What's his cell phone number?
Well, it's his company phone. Is that relevant?
You have to go ahead and answer.
What's the cell phone number?
Yes.
674-7317.
And that's area code 901.
Correct.
And by company, I guess you mean this is Federal Express.
Correct.
So the bill for his cell phone doesn't come to your house, I presume?
I don't know. I don't pay bills.
Okay.
Okay?
Had you been riding your horse that day?
No.
How long were you at your barn?
20 minutes at the most.
Okay. And what were you there for?
The horse had not been feeling well, and I went to check on her, and the weather was bad.
Okay. And you said the horse had not been feeling well. What was wrong with the horse?
Right. She was having a foot problem
Okay.
that I was dealing with.
Okay. And so I guess you shoe the horse? You know how to
No,
take
I
care
don't
of
shoe
it?
the horse, no.
Okay. Well, what was wrong with her foot? What treatment did you give the horse?
I was checking her to see if the hoof was still sore. She'd been favoring one of her legs, so I was checking her hoof. And the weather was bad.
Okay. And how did you do that? How did you check the horse's hoof?
Well, you pick it up and you check it and you see if there's anything wrong with it. Take a hoof pick and pick at it a little bit and see if she reacts to it being tender or sore.
Okay. What does a hoof pick look like?
It's a metal piece. It's a metal piece with a hook on the end. It's what you usually use to clean debris out of a horse's hoof.
Is that something I guess you do as part of taking care of your horse?
Correct.
Had your horse seen a veterinarian?
My horse sees a vet, but I don't think she'd seen one around that time.
Okay. After the accident, did your horse ever go to a vet? Or a vet come to your horse?
I can't remember.
Did the foot problem resolve?
It did.
You said that you were there about 20 minutes. Where were you prior to going to the bar?
I had been at home.
Okay. Had you been there all day?
I don't think I'd been there all day. I think I'd probably run errands that day like I normally do.
Okay. And you said that you had a Coke at Sonic.
I did.
Okay. Do you remember the last time you had anything to eat or drink prior to that, prior to the accident?
Sometime late that afternoon.
Okay. Do you know what it was you ate?
I ate at home.
Okay. On the day of the accident, were you under the influence of any prescription or non-prescription drugs?
I'm sure I was taking my regular medicine.
Okay. What were you taking at the time?
Well, I take Avalon, which is a blood pressure medication. I take Protonics for acid reflux. And I can't remember if I was taking anything else at that moment.
Who prescribed the blood pressure medication?
Jolie Porter,
And the Protonics?
either Jolie Porter or my gastro doctor,
Okay. Who's your gastro doctor?
Dr. Ed Coutu.
How do you spell Coutu?
I believe it's Cattau.
And how long had you been seeing Dr. Coutu for acid reflux?
I see him off and on for different things. So I don't know how long I've been seeing him. Either he was handling it or Jolie Porter was handling my internist.
And are those both prescription medications?
They are.
Where do you get your prescriptions filled?
Well, I think at that time we were probably ordering them through a drug company.
And who is that?
I don't know.
Is that through your husband's work, I guess?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was just gonna have you say yes, right?
Oh, yes. Yes.
And how does that work? What do? You order it online, or you get on the telephone, or?
I think you can do either. Order a 3-month supply at one time.
Okay. And you're not doing that now for your prescription medication?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't.
Okay. And when you do, you don't know the name of the company? Okay. Do you know who?
No.
Do you know who would know the name of the company?
Probably my husband.
Okay. And do your drugs, I guess, get delivered in the mail?
They do.
Now, do they come FedEx or do they come in regular
I think
mail?
they come regular mail.
What about alcohol? Had you had any alcohol on the day of the accident?
No, I don't drink.
Now, is it your testimony you don't drink now?
Well, it depends on your opinion. I have a drink maybe once a month or once every 2 months. I guess that depends on someone's definition. Am I a drinker? No.
Okay. And what types of drinks do you have once a month?
Occasionally I'll have a glass of wine. Occasionally I'll have a Bloody Mary.
And then what about the time of the accident? Does the same apply? You would only drink once a month?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. I believe your testimony was that right now you drink, but you drink, once a month, maybe a glass of wine, maybe a Bloody Mary. Okay. And my question is that always been your habit? I mean, have you always been once a month drinker, or have you ever?
No, I drink once a month, maybe once every 2 months. Alcohol is not important to me.
Okay. So you've never been treated for alcohol
No,
addiction or anything? Never been to
no,
a AA meeting?
no.
Do you remember on the day of the accident what time you woke up?
No.
Do you know how much sleep you'd had that night? The night before?
I assume about 7 hours.
You said that it was raining or that the weather was bad?
I think the weather was getting bad.
Okay.
I was concerned and wanted to make sure that the horse was in her stall and not out in the elements.
Okay. And by getting bad, what do you mean? Was it raining? Was it?
Raining, storming, which I don't leave her out in.
Okay. And the last thing that you remember is going north on Germantown Road.
I passed the polo fields, I went over a small bridge, and that's the last thing I remember.
Okay. And I guess before you blacked out, was your head hurting? Were you feeling sick at your stomach?
No.
Were you, okay.
No. I was not driving fast, I was listening to classical music, I was very relaxed, I wasn't in a hurry, and I blacked out.
Classical music, is that on the radio or is it on a CD player?
It was
or?
a CD for my daughter's wedding.
Okay. Are you saying that it's an actual CD of your daughter's wedding?
It was a CD that the string quartet that had played at our daughter's wedding had made me.
Okay.
So,
And the string quartet, what's their name?
I don't remember.
Okay. When did your daughter get married?
January the 7th of 2006.
Okay. Was she married here in Memphis or?
She was.
Do you know how fast you were going?
I don't think I was going anywhere over 35. I was in no hurry to get home. You know, I was listening to classical music, I was very relaxed.
How far away were you from your home?
Oh, about 12, 15 minutes more.
Okay. Did you see Miss Hussey's vehicle prior to the accident?
No.
You've testified that you blacked out prior to the accident. I'm assuming that you came to at some point?
I came to after the accident had occurred.
Okay. And tell me, when you came to, where were you and what do you remember?
I remember sitting in my vehicle not knowing where I was. And then all of a sudden I realized I had evidently been in an accident because I looked over and saw Miss Hussey's car. And all I could think about was the airbag bag evidently deployed. All I could think about was I was not aware that smoke came out of airbags, and I needed to get out of the car with the dog because I didn't know if the car was on fire. My main concerns were Miss Hussey and the dog. So I got out, walked around the back of my vehicle, went over, asked Miss Hussey if she was okay because I was more concerned about her safety and health than I was myself. She said she thought she was okay, but she couldn't get out because of the way her car was and her door.
Okay, did you have your dog with you?
I did, the dog was in my arms.
Okay. Did you say anything else to Miss Hussey?
No.
You didn't apologize to her?
I think I may have said, I'm so sorry. Because I am totally sorry. I'm very remorseful this happened to her and myself. So nothing I would do intentionally to anyone.
What was the damage to your vehicle?
From what I understand, it was totaled.
Okay. I mean, did you take a look at your vehicle after the accident?
Not really, because I was told by people that started stopping that I needed to go sit down, that I had no business.
Okay. And why were they telling you that, you know?
I don't know, so I just did what they said.
Okay. Were the vehicles on the road or off the road?
From what I remember, my vehicle was on the road. Miss Hussey's was at an angle, not partially off the road in a ditch.
Okay. And from what you remember, I guess, can you figure out what you think happened? I guess you passed out and...
I blanked out. I don't remember anything.
Okay. So
I blacked out. I don't remember the impact. I don't remember the collision. I remember nothing except coming to in the vehicle and sitting there for a few moments, not knowing where I was, and then all of a sudden realizing I had been in an accident.
Okay. You said that your vehicle was on the roadway. Was it in the northbound lane or the southbound lane of Germantown?
I don't know. I just think I was kind of across the road.
Okay.
I was told later that I had crossed the line.
Okay, and is that what it looked like to you from the way that the vehicles were positioned?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that it didn't happen that way?
I can only go by what I was told from witnesses.
Okay. And who are the witnesses?
Well, a FedEx pilot stopped.
Okay. Who is that?
I don't know his name. My husband does.
And do you remember talking to him?
After I was out of the vehicle, I spoke with him. I
Okay.
think.
Now, did you know who it was? Did you know he was a FedEx pilot?
Absolutely not. He just, that was one of the first ones on the scene. And happened to be nice enough to stop.
Do you know what kind of car he was driving?
No, I don't remember.
How do you know he's a FedEx pilot?
I believe he asked me how to contact whomever he needed to contact.
Okay.
And when I told him my husband where he was, he said that he flew for FedEx.
Okay. And was your husband at work?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
And did your husband come out to the accident scene?
Mm-hmm. He did, yes.
And you don't know this guy's name, but your husband does?
Right.
Okay.
I'm sure he told me at the time, but I don't remember.
Okay. And then you said there were witnesses, so I'm assuming more. Do you know who the other witnesses were?
No,
Can you describe them?
no. I was told to go sit down until the ambulance got there.
Do you know if the FedEx pilot that stopped, whether or not he witnessed the collision?
I believe he did.
Do you know if he spoke with the police?
No, I don't know about that.
Do you think that Miss Hussey did anything wrong in regards to this accident?
I don't know. I blacked out. I never saw Miss Hussey until after the accident had occurred.
So you don't have any facts that would, I guess, support that she was negligent or she did anything wrong?
No.
Was it raining at the time of the wreck?
I can't remember.
It was nighttime though.
It was nighttime.
Did you have your headlights on?
I did.
Have you seen